very warm welcome to this meditation session that is happening every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Starting January, we have been on a journey. Lots of people are new, lots of people are coming regularly. Today I see a lot of new faces, so I think I would like to first of all know from a raise of hands, how many of you are first time here? Wow. And you're coming all from internations or? Okay, very nice. And how many of you are complete beginners to meditation? Okay, only one of you. Kind of. I think for you specifically, just enjoy what's happening. Don't worry about, whether you're a beginner or a advanced meditator or an experienced meditator. What we do here is fairly simple. We have been looking at what is meditation from different angles, from different perspectives in every session. So every session is completely different from the previous session. In the last 6 months almost, we have gone through many different ways, used different things like objects, candles, mirrors, and I don't know what not. We have tried out everything possible to show and to understand what it means by meditation and how can we enter this space of meditation from different angles. Because we are in a way very different from each other, in a way we are very similar. So there are ways which are resonating to one particular style of a person. Someone is more good in concentrating, so it's easier and more natural for that person to use concentration techniques for meditation. Someone is more imaginative, someone is more creative. For those kind of people, there are other ways. So what we try to do here is to keep a mix of these different ways, try out each of these different ways every time. And if you ask me what is the style of meditation, it's no style of meditation, which means that we are not promoting any religion, we are not promoting any spiritual cult. I do not belong to either of those or any of these groups. I learned meditation from my father when I was 5, and since then I've been practicing this almost throughout my life. I've put in more than 10,000 hours of silent meditation practice without having any affiliations to any group or so. So whatever we are doing here is coming out of my own experience. I did go through yoga, tantra, zen, all these traditions which come along with growing up in India and having the opportunity to explore what all these mean. So I explored all these and I took what is essential, what is the essence of each of those, and what we can actually contextualize to the times of today and the kind of lifestyles we have. We are not the people who would now sit in Himalayas and in a cave for a number of years, or go join an ashram in India. We are not those kind of people. We are having a very normal lifestyle, and the need of meditation can start from the very relaxation that you want something very simple to relax, or it could be that you want more introspection, more spirituality into your life. All that is possible. What we do in these sessions, there is something in it for everyone. Depending upon how open you are, depending upon how much you take back home and repeat and practice, it totally depends up to you. But what I can promise is there is something in it for everyone in today's session, in every session that we do. Before we go into today's theme, I want to ask you a question. When you hear me speaking, what are you actually hearing? Anybody? What are you actually hearing when you hear me speak? Words? Information. And if you break this down, it sounds. If you break down words and just think about it, it doesn't matter which language, eventually it sounds. It's a combination of sounds, it's a pattern of sounds that when I create those patterns, you process them and there is a communication happening. You're taking these patterns and processing them in your mind and understanding or referring, or you can relate to what I refer with what I'm saying. Essentially, all that I'm doing is making some sounds. All when you speak, all what we mainly use for communications is sounds. Isn't this a fascinating thing that just some sounds are allowing us to build such a sophisticated mechanism of communication that we daily basis use, and as human beings it's a part of our survival, it's a part of our life. Isn't this super fascinating? I want you to just become aware of this fact that these sounds are so interesting, that we are making sounds, and these patterns of these sounds are the basis of all the communication that we do, and all the operations that our mind are doing without even us aware of it. So consciously or unconsciously, whatever sounds you hear, your mind starts processing and immediately jumps on it and tries to interpret things that you know from your own knowledge. You immediately know. When I say apple, the sound of apple, immediately you know what it means. So you have an imagination of what an apple is, you have an experience of what an apple is, and you can relate to it. If I create a sound that you have absolutely no imagination of, you will be stuck, your mind will be stuck, will not know what this means, will park it somewhere in your memory. Another thing, if we go one level deeper, what are sounds? Vibrations, energy vibrations. So if you break down these sounds on that level and understand this on the level of energy, isn't it funny that I'm creating a pattern of energy and you all are in a way processing that and responding to it? What I'm trying to say here is that when we speak, when we communicate, whatever we say, it affects everybody. It affects us, it affects everything around us, it affects the entire world around us, because when you extrapolate that, then you see that whatever we say is not just something. You're creating an energy pattern which is impacting the whole world. So if we become aware of this and try to discipline our speech, we can create a better world. So there would be just a thing to remember out of this session, that whatever you say has a certain impact, has a certain on the entire world's harmony, on the entire world's disharmony. Everything that you say has an impact. Now, any musicians here in this room? Which instrument do you play?
I'm a singer.
You're a singer. So if you think about what is it that creates harmony in the sounds, what is it that when sounds are put in a certain combination, it's called harmonious, and sounds when they are put haphazardly, they are disharmonious.
Yeah, when it's regular.
When it's regular, there is a certain pattern in it, there is a certain right. Even if we are not musicians, still we can differentiate between what's pleasant, what's harmonious when it comes to sound patterns, and what's disharmonious. Agree? Yeah. So in this perspective, think of your own body, your own mind, your own system also as an instrument which is producing sounds, which is producing vibrations, and the pattern that you produce decides whether you're experiencing harmony or you're experiencing disharmony. Sometimes you know that, well, I don't feel harmonious. Sometimes you don't even know that you are feeling miserable. Something is wrong, but you don't know what it is. So there is a correlation of your energies, your sense of harmony, your sense of disharmony, to the sounds, to the energy, what you have in your system as an instrument. Now, just like when you tune a musical instrument to the right tones which make it harmonious, you use a reference, you use a tuner, you use something that is set that you know is harmonious, and you tune yourself according to that. For the human system, we also have few sounds that are set, that are standard, that we know are sounds of harmony, which are in harmony with nature, which are in harmony with everyone else in this existence. And if we tune ourselves to those sounds, we naturally fall into this inner peace, into this harmony on so many levels that you can't even consciously observe all those levels that are set into harmony as you tune yourself into it. Last question. What are the sounds that a baby makes? When anybody has kids, small babies? Yeah, apart from crying. So they're making very basic sounds of ah, oo, ma. And this is something which we will utilize today into a technique. These fundamental sounds of ah, oo, ma, which in the Eastern traditions has been put together as AUM, as one word, but it's actually 3 sounds. And these are known as the primary sounds or the primordial sounds. They each have a certain relevance in our human system. I'll explain what the relevance is, and then we will go into the technique. This technique that we are going to do today has 4 components: 3 sounds and the 4th silence. The first sound, the ah. The ah sound, when you utter this ah sound, it's reverberating in your upper, in your lower region of the body. So everything below the chest, you become aware of this region while you utter this sound. This directly impacts your conscious state of mind, your waking state. When you utter the word or the sound of oo, it's vibrating in the middle part of in your physical body, so around your chest region. It's impacting your dream state. When you're sleeping, this sound is corresponding to that state of consciousness. But we don't go into that theory at the moment. Just wanted to tell you that this impacts different layers of your mind. So the sound of oo would impact your subconscious layer of the mind. And when you utter the sound of ma, which is vibrating in your head, this region, this is related to your deep sleep state, which means when you're in harmony with the sound, you will have a very nice deep sleep. Not in the session, but afterwards, when you're doing this more regularly, when your sound of ma is in harmony in your system to the universe around, you will feel much more at ease to sleep. You will have much calmer sleep, and you'll be surprised by your own disappearing issues regarding sleep. And the last component, which is the silence. So when we utter these 3 sounds, ah, oo, ma, at the end, if we do it in a sequence, there is a silence that is created. Just like for every music, both the sound and the silence, they both are important. Even the silence that comes after you utter these 3 sounds is also equally important. When we will do this sequence, we will utter the word ah, oo, ma, these 3 sounds in a sequence, and will come silence. How you will do it is, for the first 10 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes, we will together utter these 3 sounds. And while we do that, when we are uttering ah, then keep your awareness in your lower region. When we are uttering the sound oo, then keep your awareness in the middle region. If we are uttering the word ma or the sound of ma, then keep your awareness in the head region. And the moment we move on to silence, just remain aware of yourself. Just remain aware of the silence. So we'll do this out loud for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we will move into a silence where you will mentally do this for another 5 minutes. So you will not do this out loud, you will do this mentally. You will just mentally repeat this sequence of and then silence in your mind. After doing this for 5 minutes, then you can sit in complete silence. If you want to bring your attention somewhere, just try to bring your attention to the silence that is created after the sound of If not, just sit in silence for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as long as you can. Is the sequence clear? Any questions? Are you guys ready to try out the sound of We will do this in one breath. So we will naturally inhale a nice long deep breath, and then while we are exhaling, we start with then we go to oo, and then we go to ma, and then we take a break. One breath, we just observe in silence. Then another breath, ma, silence. Okay, let's try to do this together. The more we do this in harmony, the more we do this together, the more powerful it will be, the more harmonious, the better it is. So if anybody is falling out of sync, try to bring yourself back into the sync, and we do this for first 5 to 10 minutes. Afterwards, I'll guide you, I'll tell you when you do this on your own mentally, and when you have to leave even this repetition of these 3 sounds and move into silence. All right, let's start. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. And release the breath. Keep your back straight. Shoulders relaxed. And make sure there is no tension on your face. Now take a nice deep breath in, and together with me say Inhale again. Inhale again. Inhale again. Inhale again. Inhale again. Bring your full energy into the sound. Inhale again. Inhale again. Inhale. Inhale again. Inhale again. Become aware of the silence. Inhale again. And inhale again. Now, for the next 5 minutes, just mentally repeat this sequence of the three sounds in silence. Keep your attention on repeating the three sounds and the silence. Keep on breathing very naturally and maintain this repetition of the three sounds and the silence. Now drop the repetition and just remain aware of the silence. Allow yourself to become more still, more silent. Allow your body to settle as you remain aware of yourself in this silence. Allow yourself to dissolve in this silence. Choose to keep your awareness on silence. Stay in this silence. Allow yourself to be here in this silence. Stay absolutely still and silent. Remain in this silence for the next minutes. Give yourself this moment to remain absolutely silent. Keep on breathing very gently, softly, and naturally. Just remain aware of yourself. Allow yourself to settle in your own awareness. Remain aware of yourself. Become aware of the silence that prevails inside you and outside. When you will open your eyes, remember the silence, this taste of inner silence. And if you like, you may very slowly and gently open your eyes or remain in this stillness, in this meditative state, as long as you like. those who have their eyes closed, you may also slowly and gently open your eyes. The last minutes that we spend in these sessions are typically for your questions, for your experiences, what you went through today. If you have something that is on your mind which you didn't understand, which you found weird, which you found good, anything that is unclear, now we take a few minutes to go through it. What I would very much appreciate is that you don't go out of the room with some doubts in your head, with some questions in your head which you could not bring up right now. So, is there anything that you want to share from your experience, what you went through? Anybody? Yes.
I would like to ask a question actually.
Yeah.
How do you set silence in your subconscious? Can you please?
How do I set what?
Your subconscious in silence mode, like not active.
Yeah, this is, first of all, let's be on the same page when we say subconscious. What do you mean by subconscious?
What I mean is like the energy that provokes your thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a source of uncontrolled energy sometimes.
Yeah. You know, that iceberg goes even deeper. Then comes unconscious. So the subconscious part, the way I would put this for myself is the conscious layer is what you use for your normal waking state. The subconscious is when you go to sleep and you're dreaming. All the contents of your dream, they are arising out of the subconscious. The unconscious is which is where you have collected all the impressions from the day you are born until now, all the data, think of it as a hard drive where you have stored all the data, but you're not using them right now. You're neither using them in your conscious state, so in your waking state, nor you are using them in your subconscious state. Now your question. So your question is what? Can you repeat that, please?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I'm not quite aware of this system of separating the
Mm-hmm.
consciousness, but what I've noticed with myself is that part of uh, getting rid of thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
there is this energy that provokes the thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of uncontrolled to a
Mm-hmm.
certain extent. So, is it is there a way to channel it or to get to know it better?
Sure. This is what we were trying to do also with the three sounds. When you are uttering these sounds, you can think of it like all these energies, all these unprocessed thoughts, all these things that are lingering somewhere in the unconscious or in the subconscious, it does not matter. Somewhere they are lingering in your head. And there are many ways to remove them. One of the ways is what we did today with the sound vibration. When you're using these three sounds, what happens is that you are really creating that amplification of these energies, these sounds, that those lingering thoughts, those impressions that you carry, they start uprooting from your system. That's one. Second thing is when you are witnessing, when you're observing your own thoughts, which is a much longer process. As a practice, it takes a while that you could settle into the observation of your own mind and go deeper than just the conscious level. Like right now, if I ask you to observe your thoughts, you will be observing what is there in your conscious layer at the moment. But the more you're silent, hence all this emphasis on silence, hence the whole practice or the whole effort that I have here is that you become more silent first. Because when you're silent, then you can observe your mind. Then you can observe many more details about yourself which are otherwise inaccessible, because everything in you is trying to catch your attention. So your attention is occupied. It cannot see what is in front of it. When you are silent, when you can observe where this is coming from, the moment you can actually see where this is coming from, actually see, you are able to even let it go. So that's the power of awareness. Awareness about things is not an impotent, just a observing factor about your consciousness. It's something which is very powerful. The more you can bring your awareness, your consciousness to yourself and become more aware about yourself, the more naturally you can, I don't want to use the word control, but you are then the, so to say, master of yourself, or you're more in control, to put it very simply. And this is where this would be the second way. And then there are many other methods that we practice here. Last time we did a method where we looked into the mirror, and as easy as it sounds, it's a very powerful method, and it takes you to all these different layers of your mind. So there are many ways. If this doesn't satisfy your question, maybe we can talk offline after the session, and I can tell you maybe something which might be relevant for you personally.
Well, it's not that it doesn't satisfy, it's just that sometimes I've asked myself these questions.
Yeah. The one word answer is create a situation for yourself that you can be more silent. And in that silence, you will find your own ways to answer this question more easily than others. Any other question? Yes.
So first of all, thank you for the invitation. They allow me to calm down my hyperactive mind, which is not easy. And I would like to ask you something. I read somewhere that most of our thoughts are actually not our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about it?
Yes.
Can you repeat this question?
Yeah, the question is, so the question is, or I think it's a comment, that most of our thoughts are not our thoughts. I can go on talking about this, but I don't want to, because whatever I will say will sound like a theory, will only sound fairy tales, and it's better that you find out. It's in itself a very good introspection to find out what you're thinking, where is it coming from. Just follow that shaft of thought, that chain of thought back to its source. And that's a meditation in itself. That's an entire process in itself. If you forget about all of the techniques and give yourself 10 minutes every day, sit down and just observe, where is this thought coming from? All that train of things that are coming from, where are they coming from? Without even assuming that they're coming from outside, they're coming from within. Slowly, when you observe them, you will make your own interpretation, and I think it's even more relevant when you find this out yourself, without me telling you where it's coming from.
I'm already convinced actually about this, but I will exercise. Thank you.
Yeah. But theoretically, you're right. 99.9999% of the thoughts that we have are not our thoughts. Which is crazy, right? Anything else? Last minute. You guys enjoyed the session?
Yes.
Yes, very much.
All right, then I wish you a very nice week. Thank you very much for sharing your silence with me.